Welcome to the Explainer. If you are gearing up for civil services or geography exams, you are in exactly the right place. Today, we're taking those dense, complicated geography textbooks and transforming them into clear, structured maps right in your mind. Our main goal? Highlighting key river details for exams, so you don't get tricked. By the end of this, you're going to have a rock-solid mental framework to breeze right through those tricky preliminary questions.
All right, here's our roadmap for today. We'll be covering 1. Drainage concepts and patterns, 2. The Indus River System, 3. The Brahmaputra River System, 4. The Ganga River System, 5. The Peninsular Rivers, and finally, 6. Himalayan versus Peninsular Rivers. Let's get to it.
Kicking things off with Section 1, Drainage Concepts and Patterns. We've really got to start with a foundation here, because understanding the why prevents you from just rote memorizing.
So look, the key here is nailing down these foundational NCERT vocabulary terms so you don't get tripped up on exam day. A catchment area is basically just the specific region where a river collects its water. Simple enough, right? But here is the major exam distinction. If we are talking about a big major river, that catchment area is called a river basin. If it's a smaller river, it's called a watershed. And to really put the sheer scale of these systems into perspective, 85%. Major river basins, meaning the ones with catchment areas over 20,000 square kilometers, account for a massive 85% of India's total runoff. There's only 14 of these major basins, but they completely dominate the country's hydrology.
Now let's contrast how rivers actually behave. Think of discordant rivers as the rebels. They stubbornly follow their initial path no matter what's happening to the topography around them. For example, antecedent rivers like the Indus or Brahmaputra actually existed before the Himalayas even rose up, and they literally carved deep gorges straight through the rising rock. Concordant rivers, on the flip side, play by the rules. They just follow the natural existing slope of the land.
Okay, this brings us to a classic exam trop. How do we actually tell a left bank from a right bank tributary? Examiners absolutely love testing your spatial awareness with this one. The secret is surprisingly simple. It all depends on the direction the river is flowing. Just visualize yourself sitting in a boat, floating downstream with the current. Whatever joins from your left is a left bank tributary, and whatever joins from your right is a right bank tributary. It's as easy as that.
Moving right along to Section 2, the Indus River System. Let's fly over its northern geography. This is a massive exam detail, so definitely lock this in. The mighty Indus originates from the Bokar-Chu Glacier near Mount Kailash, but pay really close attention to its path. When it enters India, it flows directly between the Ladakh and Zaskar mountain ranges. That exact location is a frequent trap in the prelims. Then you've got its famous left bank tributaries, forming the Punjab region, like the Jhelum, Chenab, Ravi, Beas, and Sutlej, alongside its right bank companions like the Shok and Gilgit. Let's shine a quick spotlight on the Chenab, which is the largest tributary of the Indus. It actually forms when two distinct rivers, the Chandra and the Bhaga, merge together at a place called Tandi. Because of this, it's often known as the Chandrabhaga. Oh, and for you history buffs facing ancient geography questions, don't forget its ancient name, Oskani. Highlight this next fact in your brain for sure. Out of the 5 major tributaries of the Indus system, the Beas is the only one that flows completely and entirely within the borders of India. It never crosses into Pakistan. Shifting focus east, we hit Section 3, the Brahmaputra River System. This river is famous for constantly changing its identity. Honestly, this river is like a spy with multiple aliases, and this sequence is something you absolutely must remember. Up in Tibet, it's known as the Tsangpo. Now, crucially, when it cuts through the Himalayas into India, it is not called the Brahmaputra yet. It's called the Siang or Dihang. It only officially becomes the Brahmaputra after it is joined by the Dibang and Lohit rivers. Finally, flowing into Bangladesh, it takes on its final alias, the Jamuna. All right, Section 4, the Ganga River System. We're starting high up with its complex birth in Uttarakhand. This sequence right here, it's pretty much a guaranteed exam question. The Alaknanda River is the main spine. As it flows down, it joins different rivers at these sacred confluences known as the Prayags. The Doli-Ganga meets it at Vishnu Prayag, the Nandakini at Nanda Prayag, the Pinder-Ganga at Karna Prayag, and the Mandakini at Rudra Prayag. The big moment happens at Dev Prayag, where the Bhagirathi meets the Alaknanda, and boom, from that point on, it is officially the Ganga. So here's your rapid-fire breakdown of the key tributaries. On the left bank, you've got the Ramganga, Gomti, Gaga, and the Kosi, which is notorious for wildly shifting its course, earning it the grim nickname, the Sorrow of Bihar. Over on the right bank, you have the Son River and the Yamuna. The Yamuna is actually the Ganga's longest right bank companion, and they eventually have their massive merger at Prayagraj. Heading south now, let's jump into Section 5, the peninsular rivers, which build a very different kind of network.
I really want to emphasize this specific geography fact because examiners absolutely love testing your knowledge of the Narmada's exact location. It carves a spectacular rift valley directly between the Vindhyan Range to the north and the Satpura Range to the south. Keep that layout securely locked in your memory.
Now let's lock in the origin points for the major players down south. The Godavari, the largest peninsular river, starts in the Nashik district. Down in Karnataka, the Kaveri begins in the Brahmagiri hills. Meanwhile, the Krishna rises near Mahabaleshwar, and the Mahanadi flows out of Sihawa over in Chhattisgarh. Finally, bringing it all together in Section 6, Himalayan versus Peninsular Rivers. Consider this your ultimate screenshot-worthy study guide. The core differences really just come down to geography and age. Himalayan rivers are perennial. They flow year-round because they're fed by both melting glaciers and rain. And because they're youthful, they vigorously cut deep gorges. Peninsula rivers, though, are seasonal, relying almost entirely on the monsoon rains. They flow through older, harder rock, which creates mature, shallower valleys.
And that brings us to the end of our breakdown. So here's my challenge to you. Which drainage system are you going to map out for memory first? Seriously, grab a blank map right now and test your fresh knowledge. But beyond the exam, I want you to ask yourself this. As climate patterns shift and those northern glaciers recede, how might these ancient, powerful river systems look a century from now? Thanks for focusing in with me today, and keep exploring.